And like I was totally in favor of privacy for things like I don't know, buying weed and like circumventing stupid zoning regulations and all of that. But like basically, I kind of believed that possibly outside of like censorship resistance applications, privacy didn't really uh, just matter that much, and people should just be proud of what they do. I started realizing that there are some situations where there is a legitimate need to be able to do things without the thing you're doing simultaneously being this kind of performance that you're putting on for an entire world. And like Robin Hanson wrote a really a good and huge book about this called The Elephant in the Brain a few months ago. And so like the idea of privacy as something that can kind of give people freedom to optimize for their own happiness instead of like constantly caring about how what they're doing looks in front of everyone else, I think is really valuable. I just realized that protecting your privacy along a lot of different dimensions is just something that a lot of people need, and probably everyone needs to at least some extent. I've been following the project almost since, well, even before the start. And I met Zuko for the first time back in 2013 at the first big Bitcoin conference. I guess first of all, it's important to keep in mind that like even Zcash in some ways is less private than cash, right? Like if we have a cash transaction in person, there is literally no trace of this that's happening in public. Whereas if you have a Zcash transaction, you're still leaking the timestamp. You're still possibly leaking IP addresses. The fact that you have a certain amount of Zcash whenever you end up converting it into some other currency. I definitely don't agree with this hypothesis that I think some people in law enforcement have. They're like, oh my God, with this fancy new technology, the internet is, quote, going dark and we'll have like no way to understand what's going on in society. Like, at all, and crimes will become impossible to solve and so forth. Like I think the vision for Zcash and strong privacy on the internet is in some ways a lot more moderate than even people on both sides of the argument tend to think. It's like ultimately a technology that brings balance to a world where the kind of fundamental patterns of technology over the last 20 or 30 years are really going in the opposite direction even more.
So basically, that clip we just watched was from 7 years ago. Okay, but we fast forward 7 years, and 5 days ago, Vitalik donates $800,000 and he splits it between two private messaging platforms that he highlights as important, I assume. So, the two platforms are Sessions and Simple X. You can do your own research on them. I won't go into detail on that. But what I will point out is what he plans to do with the $800,000. I'm sure he's going to mentor them in a type of way. And he wants to focus on permissionless account creation without personal identifiers, enhance protection against metadata analysis, improve user experience while maintaining security, and broader adoption through documentation and tools. He thinks metadata privacy should be a fundamental right, basically. So, so the main things that he is wanting improved that I can kind of hit on real quick, shortly. The permissionless account creations, which is one of the biggest ones. This means that when you're signing up to the platform, you don't use your phone number, you don't need your email address, you don't use any real type of identification. And this is major because people like to feel safe, and better yet, people like to actually be safe. And so that is a big step in the right direction. This leads me to the metadata protection, which is also very important versus all your data being saved in the cloud, that it's called it, which is owned by all these mega corporations. They sell your data. They give it up very easily, and so protecting the metadata is also very important. And that's a whole nother thing, whole nother video that I could hit on, which I might do because lately that's what I've been studying. I've been paying attention to privacy policies and the end-to-end encryption policies, and how Signal operates and SimpleX and Sessions operates, because eventually I want to build my own private messaging platform. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.